I was so involved in church, I thought I was going to be a nun for a minute. You didn't like that either. Well, you guys, I'm just going to be honest. This episode is scary. This episode is vulnerable, and I'm recording this in the middle of editing, and I'm nervous. But also, I think this conversation is really important, and I'm so thankful that I had it, and I'm honored to share it with you. But it is scary. So welcome to the Bubbly Babble, where I am talking some heavy stuff today. I'm talking to my mom. I'm telling her a little bit about my deconstruction of faith, which is a really big thing for me. I'm also talking to her about being polyamorous and what that means for me. And we're getting a little bit into her stuff. This is a vulnerable conversation with my mom. And thank you for being here. This is me. So without further ado, another episode of the Bubbly Babble. Okay, do you want to talk about the thing that you sent me? Or you want to talk about Easter?
What happened on Easter?
It's not always bad stuff.
Oh.
Just how I feel about Easter.
About the holiday?
Yeah.
I don't want to discuss that.
Why?
And I don't think it would be appreciated for people to listen to it either.
I think
it's very rare.
I think you're wrong.
I don't want to hear that you don't believe in God. I don't want to hear it.
What?
Yeah. Because I just can't understand all the good things you have in your life and you don't believe in God. You don't believe. Like, it's so hard for me. And
so let's talk about the hard thing.
Leader but I don't understand.
Well, then don't you want to talk to me to understand?
You have talked. We've had the conversation a couple of times, and I just don't get it.
Well, then maybe you're not listening. I'm not trying to change your mind.
I know. I don't know how you changed your mind.
What I'm saying is I want to tell you.
But you said you read all this stuff. And, like, who put that stuff in your hand? Like, why did you start reading all that stuff?
Curiosity.
Why were you curious? It's fact and should
What's
be fact to you. What you were taught. What's in the Bible.
I read the Bible. I guess we're talking about it anyway. Sorry, Mom, but we're talking about it. The first thing I read that started to change my mind was the Bible.
But you've read the Bible all your life, and
I have not read the Bible all my life.
When you were in youth groups?
No, I read snippets of the Bible that were given to me. I did that for most of my life, and I was a youth group junkie. I was so involved in church, I thought I was going to be a nun for a minute. You didn't like that either.
No, look.
I know, of course, but the more of the Bible I read, this is my story. It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone to decide they feel how I feel.
What, did you go the opposite way?
Sure did.
Nunhood.
Sure did. I read the Bible and I just started to be like, well, why? Why? Who says this is the right story? They say there are two sides to every story.
Because they were there and they took notes.
How do you know?
Because that's what it is. These are like,
they didn't write it for centuries. It was passed down by word of mouth.
I don't know if it was passed down by word of mouth or writings.
I'm telling you, it was passed down by word of mouth.
I don't know. I mean, like, the people that don't believe in the Bible and Jesus Christ are horrible. They're bad. They're mean.
Do you think I'm horrible and bad and mean?
No.
What about me as a human being, my personality, has changed since I stopped believing in God?
Things you do that you don't feel that you should be doing. Not that you don't feel you should be doing, because you do what you want to do. Back before you did all this.
What is all this?
The Bible, reading the Bible.
Okay.
Before you did all this, you wouldn't have stepped out of your marriage.
I'm not stepping out of my marriage.
You know what I mean. I'm not saying exactly that.
I
don't think that you have any guilt with anything that you do.
Why should I?
Because it's wrong. And if you,
what is wrong?
Your marriage part of it.
Why?
And because you took vows.
But who said it's wrong? If the person that I made the vow with,
if he would let you know,
doesn't say it's wrong, who else matters?
He doesn't say it's wrong.
It's not my job to dig into him. If he tells me it's not, then it's my job to honor him and believe him. Okay. Do you think it's hurting him?
That's what he's trying to do. I would think it would. I would think it would. However,
so what's wrong with doing that? If it makes me happy, do you think if I thought it was hurting him that I would keep doing it? To honor that, what's wrong with it?
No, I don't know. It's not making you happy.
happy is not an all the time thing.
Yeah, but you were not happy, very upset, not happy.
Me being polyamorous isn't just this one person. Let's say I was a monogamous person and I happen to bump into somebody who feels like somebody really important in my life, and I was married to someone who is not understanding and who wants to lock me into their bubble, and there's a piece of something that's missing for me. Should I be unhappy for the rest of my life just because I made a vow when I was 29?
Unless they are mistreating you, physically or mentally. Yeah, because you took vows.
Okay, so you would rather me be unhappy because I made vows when I was younger?
I wouldn't assume that you wouldn't be unless he changed and was physical or mentally abusive. Because there's no other reason.
Not awful, but not good is still not good. I'm not, and that's not what I'm saying about my marriage.
I know, but like you and other people, normal people.
I don't think that word's fair.
Huh?
I don't think that's a fair word.
Well, you didn't wait till I finished the sentence, see?
Sure.
You and other people and normal people who don't do what you do sometimes don't know that they're not happy and stuff like that. So, if you let me finish the sentence, you would have known that I meant like normal marriage.
I'm still not a fan of the word normal.
Well, but don't judge me before I finish my sentence. That's me.
Fair.
Let me finish.
Yeah, I know. How does it feel? But what it comes down to is that human connection is something that lights me up inside. My husband knows that, and he doesn't expect to light every part of me up. And so for him, someone else lighting a different part of me up that he isn't built for him to do, isn't made for him to do, is outside of his expertise. Like, at the end of the day, it makes me more whole.
Like what? Build you up how?
We have very different emotional needs. We were raised emotionally different. Our traumas are different. What emotional need are
you getting off of what you're with right now?
I don't really know that that's what's important. Because I feel like that narrative says, I'm missing something in my marriage. I need to find it somewhere else. That's not what's occurring.
Okay.
What's occurring is...
That makes me feel better.
I realized that I have a bigger bucket, right? So they say, like, don't pour it out of an empty cup, right?
No, I never heard that.
Of course, you've never heard that. You should hear that, probably more than anyone.
What does that mean?
It means you can't pour if you have nothing to give.
Oh.
And so you have to make sure that your bucket is filled. And I am about to say one of the saddest things I will ever say. I'm going to make sure we're still recording. I don't think you have any idea what it means to have your bucket filled.
Mm.
That's horribly sad.
Mm.
And so
and the fact that I didn't know until now just makes it worse.
Here's the thing. You have had to survive for... Your birthday is next week.
I don't care.
I think it's important. I think it's important.
It's an important birthday, yeah.
No, because also I think that people need to understand that even at an age that people think is high, your life is still ahead of you. You can still grow, you can still heal yourself potentially, and you can still learn. So if at, here we go, 70 years old, you are just finding this out about yourself.
So all that time is wasted and gone. There's not a future. Like, there's not going to be relationships in my future.
You don't know that.
No, I don't.
You don't know that.
I don't.
And if I'm being really honest, I think that an indicator of having a future relationship is learning about that stuff about you.
Yeah, and see, all the times in my life that people have been interested in me, I never thought they were interested in me. I mean, this happened a lot.
A lot. And that, I mean, we could probably dig into why very quickly. We've talked a little bit about you not feeling seen in your family, being raised. What was the thing you sent me the other day? Let me find it.
I have it.
You saved it?
I have a mother-daughter thingy.
Oh, okay.
So I can use it.
So, okay.
Not against you.
I know, I'm just kidding. You said, I don't know who this quote is by, so I cannot accredit it. I apologize. When a woman grows up feeling unseen, she learns to love by overgiving. She pours into everything else, pour, like I was saying earlier, hoping that one day someone will finally pour back into her. Hoping that one day someone will finally pour back into her. She
And
becomes...
I'm talking about a spouse too, or not a
Yes.
spouse, a partner.
Yes. She becomes the caretaker, the fixer, the one who shows up even when no one shows up for her. And the hardest part, deep down, she's not trying to be strong. She's just waiting for someone to do for her what she spent her whole life doing for everyone else.
That's so me.
It is very you, and that's hard. And like, I am sorry I'm sorry that that's been your experience. And because I think the word "and" is better than the word "but," because I think that you can hold two ideas simultaneously. But like, I'm sorry that happened, and I still think you can grow from it. And I think that like it was for something,
though, to use to grow from it. I see that that's me.
But now what?
Now what?
Well, that's where therapy comes in.
Yeah.
And that's where a good therapist comes in. Your initial reaction is a quick way to think. It's not a problem with you, but like, wow, 70 years wasted. That's not true, because you still have the rest of your life. We have no idea how long that will be. You can make the best of that.
Yeah.
Which brings it back to my marriage. Just because we've operated under the framework that we bought into doesn't mean that's how we continue moving forward. And so that's kind of one of the things, is like how all of this happened. Do you remember how I got here as far as polyamory?
No.
Okay, great. I obviously was raised with the idea of traditional marriage being the only way to go.
Pretty much a lot of people are.
But even
back then,
even with that, I didn't have great representation of marriage in my life.
Nope.
Right? So I just, I did what I was supposed to do. And that's also what my husband did. We were taught that. And he also didn't have a stellar example of marriage in his home. Okay, so what happened was I went out with a friend who I genuinely we're friends. I'm married, right? Like, and this was after we had, decided that the way that we were living our life by the big book was no longer what we wanted to do. And my friend hit on me. And I remember thinking, oh my God, that's how affairs happen. That's so strange. Why? I was like, you've met my husband. What are you doing? And we had great conversation that night about a world that I didn't fully understand. Some of it I didn't even know about, which is polyamory, ethical non-monogamy. Of course, people talk about swingers, but it's not that. That's kind of where the conversation began. And then nothing happened. And then the next morning, my husband said, how was last night? And I went, it got weird. And I had this moment because I flirted with the guy. I said, hey, we can flirt all night. Nothing is happening. It would hurt my husband's feelings because we had previously stated that cheating was like a dead stop for him. That's a no-go. That was the only thing I could ever do. And so that's why I knew, even with my friend who was flirting with me all night, none of our body parts touched. And I said that would hurt my husband's feelings. It didn't even matter whether or not I wanted to. It would have hurt my husband's feelings, And so I come home and he said, how was last night? I said, it got weird. Because I knew in this moment I could tell him everything or nothing. I could say it was good, never talk about it again. But that's that plants a weird seed. I was thinking about it. I was like, it was nice to feel someone attracted to me. That's a normal human emotion. Flirting is fun. It is what many people enjoy doing. And I said, it got weird. And I told him every bit of it. And I'm a storyteller, so I remembered a lot of the details. And, he goes, okay, cool. So you had fun? And I'm like, you're not mad? He was like, no. Now I was upset that he wasn't upset, right? For about 2 weeks, we talked back and forth. I would bring it up. You sure you're not mad? You don't want to talk about it? Why aren't you mad? And he was like, do you want me to be mad? And I'm like, I don't know. But part of the conversation was there is this world that exists where that one act, having sex, is not seen as the end all be all that the big book says it is. Kind of says it is, because it really doesn't say it is. It evolved into me learning what polyamory was, what ethical non-monogamy is, what I just learned for probably a year or more. I read books and listened to podcasts and reconnected with people that I knew from earlier in my life, and they were experiencing similar things and talking about it. And of course, the last 5 years we've all had TikTok, and people learn things on TikTok, and people talk about their lives so that other people can see that they're not living their life alone. There are many, many people who love their spouse and have love for another person, or love their spouse, but also enjoy sexual activities with other people. So after some time, we talked about it and we realized, well, if we don't follow the rules of that book, what rules are we following and why? Who says that's a rule that's important?
God.
But God is an entity that we don't believe in.
I think
So
Simon does.
He doesn't.
Oh my gosh.
But why would we continue to follow rules that are from something that we don't believe in?
I don't know. The effect on the kids too. Like
what effect?
Like you don't like the holidays, although you went it totally off the wall. I mean, out of the way for Easter. But they should be in church. Let me take them.
What does why?
Because it gives them something to believe in.
They believe in themselves.
Well, that's fine. Most people believe in themselves. But I didn't. But that was part of so people who go to church. Look at you. People who go to church believe in themselves. You just want them to learn something different. Like they don't have to go to all that youth group stuff, but it also gives them a vent, and I don't know, just a little bit of structure.
But I don't believe.
I can see Jacob singing his little heart out.
I know, but he could sing his little heart out to Aerosmith or Elvis or Bruno Mars. Like, why does it need to be that?
What did those feelings do to you?
Music does that to me.
Yeah, and him, and
it doesn't have to just be. The biggest, most important lesson that I have unlearned in my deconstruction of faith is that religion, and I don't know about other religions, but very specifically Christianity, teaches you that you are bad and you are born with sin, but because something died for you, even though you didn't ask to be born, that if you pledge your allegiance to them, you will be better. But just remember that you're only good because that thing loves you. That doesn't sit well with me. It taught me to deny my intuition, to feel that my emotions were bad, to feel that caring about my body or touching my own body was evil.
I don't know, all that stuff. I mean,
that's what I learned.
It to the
But I took it in the way they wanted me to take it. It's not that I took it to the extreme. I took it the way they wanted me to take it, even less so than a lot of people that I knew and grew up with, right? And so when I started to examine that, it was like, but why was I bad? Why is that? That's a weird concept to me. And every thought I had to put through a lens of God, but someone else is the person that told me what they believe that God is. It didn't start making sense to me. I'm not necessarily saying that there is no being greater than ourselves. I have no idea. But I don't believe in a God that is utilized by religious organizations to control people. Which I know that sounds really tinfoil hat. Like, I know that. But, like, at some point, I just stopped believing that I was inherently bad and needed saving.
But you took it to extremes by believing that, is what I'm saying.
But that's what they want you to believe.
That's not what I believe, ever. And I went to Catholic school, too.
But that's what they want you to believe.
I don't know if that's true. I think you just believe in God and follow his commandments. That's just commandments.
Okay, so hear me out. So what commandments do you think, let's go through the commandments. Do you think I encourage my children or am raising my children to kill people?
No.
Okay.
Thou shalt not covet each other's spouse.
Okay. Which, that's the thing about spouse, is that's the same as thou shalt not covet your neighbor's possessions, which makes your spouse a possession.
Your neighbor's wife, it wasn't possession.
Yeah, but there's another one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's 10 of them.
I know that.
But it's in the same, it's written in the same subtext of possessions. And when that was written, spouses were possessions. I don't see my spouse as a possession of me, and he doesn't see me as a possession of him, which is why I am free to do in my life what.
This is all your interpretation. This is not how, that's the way you want it to interpret.
But I mean, how else did they want it to be interpreted, do you think?
Spouse.
Right, but
that's your husband.
Right, but
and you don't cheat on him or her.
Right, but I'm not.
Right. I understand all that. I understand.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're asking me, the boys, how are you not doing? Well, honor thy father and mother. Do not kill. You use the Lord's name in vain. I still always say, oh my God.
No, you do not.
Most of the time I do.
You also say Jesus Christ a lot.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm praying when I do that.
This is what I mean. What you think I am missing from my life is guilt.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, that's.
I think that you are
true.
bound by guilt and you should be set free.
That's true. But who else does these wonderful things for you out in the atmosphere? Like you.
Who knows? Why not me?
I don't know.
But why not me?
Why not you?
Why can't I be
you're just one of the people I know that have that.
Yeah, but why can't it be from me? Like I understand
what you're saying. Your aura.
Right, but like even praying, right? Like I a little bit understand praying. I think it got twisted and utilized. Like Our Fathers and Hail Marys, that's not a prayer for yourself. It's a prayer to someone else. Praying or manifesting is like just sending the energy into the universe that these are the things I want. And yes, they are coming true. And I do believe if more people did that, it would help them. But it doesn't mean that I have to be like thankful to a thing that I don't believe exists in that way.
How can you not believe in God when you believe in love?
I believe in the love that comes from myself. I just don't believe it comes from something else. I believe that the spirit is in me. I believe in my soul as a human. I don't know. Like it just, and I'm not saying there's nothing, but there's so much that specifically that book I don't think is good. And the rules that come from it.
It comforts me when I go and I read it. Because I do. If I'm feeling, I'll go and...
Listen, losing my faith was one of the hardest things I ever did. I didn't do it lightly. It took a year. It was painful. I wouldn't suggest anyone else
does it. Because of guilt.
It was painful because everything I ever believed, I now believed was a lie. So no, not guilt.
You shouldn't believe everything's a lie.
You don't believe anything's a lie, Queen AI. Oh my God.
I know it. I don't know what is AI and what isn't.
But that's what I mean is like, and that's the good thing about religion. I don't want to take it from people, but I won't allow it to dictate a life that I lead when I'm in control of my life. And I'm not going to teach my children to let it dictate their life they want to lead.
Well, they won't if they're not in Catholic school, pretty much, or a Christian school.
But what is it specifically about Christianity? Do you think they need to know that I'm not teaching them, with the exception of the God thing?
The God thing.
So
they have belief in something.
My kids are going to learn about death. It's a natural part of life.
Well, yes, but you got to explain why things happen like that.
Sometimes we don't. That's the answer. The answer is that nobody knows.
Well, I mean, like when I go, they're going to be like, sad.
Of course.
And they're going to want to know answers. And
right. You're not going to like the answers I give them.
Well, I'll be dead. So do nice. Be nice. Say good things. Say because God wanted her in heaven for a party or something.
But that's not the truth.
And then the truth, heaven and earth. You don't believe in heaven and earth?
I don't believe in heaven. I stopped believing in hell first. And so when I stopped being afraid of being sent to hell. And so then it was like, well, if I don't believe in a hell, then that leaves what? Everybody going to heaven. I don't believe in that either. So I don't believe in either of them. I think I probably believe in reincarnation.
I believe in reincarnation.
Well, reincarnation is not heaven or hell.
Well, I know,
unless you're coming here, because this is the bad place.
I can't even get into reincarnation because I'm starting to believe in it more.
What's wrong with that?
I mean, and
What's
I believe in heaven too.
I
believe like these movies that they put out. I believe it. I believe these kids were up there and came back and told stories.
Yeah, but just maybe it's not a God in the way that we see it. Maybe it's not a God in the way that's like I think that God that they're talking, I don't think they give a shit whether or not I only sleep with my husband.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That you're a good person. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if good people die in the same way bad people do.
They have to.
So the way that I don't believe in God is just I have removed guilt from my life, and you probably should try it.
I can't.
Why
I would
not?
feel guilty about not being guilty. I'm serious. It just rolled out of my mouth. But that's how I feel. If I have guilt all of this life, you think I'm going to change now?
I think you could if you wanted to.
I'm such a my loyalty, even to God, is just, I can't. I think I'll burn in hell or something. And that's anybody pretty much my age that was raised like that.
Listen, I think that there are people like you. I don't think that you are like the worst case
I know.
scenario, right? Like, I don't think you're alone, but I do think that it would behoove you, I don't know where that came from, to realize that other people have different perspectives and they don't have to be wrong.
People my age were born and raised, and they're pretty solid in their...
How many people just like you, but worse than you, don't have relationships with their children because they're not kind to them? How many people feel exactly how you... A lot. You know what I mean? Like, I understand.
Wait, you saying I'm not kind?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
But there are things you do that, are frustrating. And
there's things you do that are everybody's frustrating. There's things your husband do that's frustrating. There's things your best friends do that are frustrating. Everybody does. Nobody's perfect.
Right. But I have the ability to go to my friends and be like, hey, this thing happened. Can we talk about it? Can we grow about it? Mm-mm. You and your generation have absolutely no interest in doing that. In the same way that you wanted to fix things for your mom growing up, you wanted to make things good for her. I became that for you growing up. It wasn't intentional, but you were able to focus on me, and if I was good, you were good. You were working a lot. You weren't putting anything effort into yourself. You weren't dating. You weren't happy. You were dating in secret, right? But like, you could put your energy into me and I would make it okay. It gave you something to live for.
Yeah.
But then I grew up and wanted to be my own person, and you didn't have that anymore. But instead of just recognizing, well, because you didn't know, instead of us recognizing that's what's going on and that you needed to be able to do that, you needed to be able to live for yourself, it became contention. It became you feeling disregarded and getting angry and frustrated with me. And that's where it started to grow.
Fester.
Today's episode of SAT words with Cherie and Cherie. But like, people who've listened to these episodes, they have said, you can tell there's so much love in your conversations. You guys will be incredibly frustrated at each other and literally laughing 2 seconds later, right? I feel like it's important to share that because do you know how many, there are literally millions of people having the same or similar conversations, issues. Maybe it's not Catholicism, maybe it's Judaism, maybe it's, there are parents who have these deeply held beliefs, and there are children who are growing in ways that feel really important to them, and the parents are shutting them down because it's not something they believe. And then the people don't want their parents in their life, because if I constantly think, well, my mom doesn't approve of me, I'm not going to want to tell you things. I'm not going to want you around.
Well,
not just you.
A lot of these conversations, I don't agree with you, but you're enlightening me. You know what I mean? So that's not bad. So like when you say,
and kudos
the other
to that,
day at work,
because you're letting.
The other day at work, well, because it's a conversation. It's give and take.
You've come a long way.
No, you've never tried.
That's not true.
The guy, I'm not gonna tell you anything if you don't approve. Well, I'm not gonna approve all the time and right away. But it's a conversation.
It's not that I need you to agree with me all the time, but if you're going to be judgmental, then no, I'm not going to tell you.
Judgmental? How would you tell if I was being judgmental?
Because you raised me, and I am you, and I know what it looks like when you get judgmental. And it's a shame that this isn't a video recording so that everyone can see your face right now.
I mean, it doesn't seem like that. It seems like you're being defensive because I'm not jumping up and down.
No, but I don't expect you to jump up and down. You know what? I think part of it is because people don't understand polyamory, and so people think it's a dirty thing. And, it's literally just more love. It's literally just more love.
Well, you can twist anything you want to say and to make it what it is. And I'm not saying that it's not, because I do have a little more understanding of things.
I was thinking about it today. So this person that I'm dating, what I get from that connection makes me feel very filled, very like alive, very excited about regular things, more so than I usually am even. And because I have that extra layer, I find myself giving more to my family. being able to be a little bit more settled, to sit down and build the Lego and not get frustrated, to spend intentional time with my husband, because I'm aware that I have another person in my atmosphere. So I'm trying to double down on making sure that my husband feels as important as he is to me. And so if there weren't another pressure doing that, it's very easy for me to just be like, well, he's there, which is what a lot of marriages do also. Just because people are married, have been married for 50 years in your generation, doesn't mean they were happy. I think a happy marriage is the goal. I think that if you make it 70 years, but you don't even like each other, what's the point of that?
I don't know.
Your aunt and uncle, I think they're crazy about each other.
Yeah.
And it's the cutest, most amazing thing. Yeah. That's why those things were good. They got along. They like being around one another. But look at our neighbors across the street. Do you think those old people liked each other? No. I don't believe in the goal of making it long term in any situation where you're not happy. Now, take that with a grain of salt. I'm not saying, oh, I'm feeling grumpy today, I think I'm going to get divorced. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying a lot of these people, especially in your generation and definitely older, like they didn't even, these rules about marriage, wow, never even thought of this one before. These rules about marriage, they were marrying 13-year-olds that their parents set them up. It's not, that wasn't love always. But marriage isn't the goal, love is.
Right.
If marriage, if love also ends, if love also encompasses marriage, that's the point.
Well, here's this, with the other thing going on, so you say you're dating, you won't work as hard to figure things out with Simon if you got a guy on the side.
Why do you think that?
I don't know, because of what you just said.
Okay. But the guy on the side isn't the father of my children.
Right.
The guy on the side isn't the person I've spent 15 years growing a life with. Why would I want to?
Because you think it might be better, but it's not, because you haven't given him 15 years.
But I can have both.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Okay, so what it really boils down to, what is polyamory for me and my husband and my marriage and for my life? It means that when I meet a human and connect with a human, I am free to explore that connection in any way I see fit. I don't have to box it in. I don't have to have expectations. Those kinds of connections just come naturally. I'm not going to be attracted to every person I meet for the rest of my life. I don't know, I might be. But it's not just that. Now, I'm a polyamorous person. I think that's like part of my identity. It is my makeup. It's my perspective. I have the ability to care that incredibly deeply about multiple people. I don't think that's the truth for everyone. I don't know if that's the truth for my husband. So that's a different thing. That polyamory has nothing to do with sex. It has nothing to do with sex. That's the part that's the most important. It has nothing to do with sex. Polyamory is about the ability to care, to love more, more.
Poly means many or multiple.
Many or multiple. Okay.
It comes from the Greek word polis.
If you go back in the human history, like cave people, they had there's evidence from anthropologists. Monogamy was not the thing. Look at kings. Look at pharaohs. Look at the Bible. The Bible has Abraham had how many wives? You know? So it's like we just stopped that one belief that somebody decided. We were like, maybe that doesn't work for us. That's all it is.
But then why do you treat it different online?
What do you mean?
Like you'll say, well, I'm poly or whatever you do. Why do you treat it different than what you're doing? Why tell people?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. Because I think it's me living authentically is living a polyamorous life. It just feels so true to my soul to be able to care about whoever comes into my life and not have to box it in and not feel worried because I have like too much of an attraction to a human that I like care about. And I think that's more normal than people say, which is why it's hush hush and quiet. And I think that maybe part of my job is to talk about it so that people can see that they feel that way and it's okay to live that way too.
Who gave you that job? God. That's not good.
But I do think it is part of my purpose in life. Do I know who gave me that purpose? No.
If there wasn't anybody, there wouldn't be a purpose.
Probably.
But I mean, Einstein and all these people, they just didn't.
I think.
So you don't believe in the Pope either?
No, he's a person. He's a leader of the Catholic Church. But like, I don't think he's infallible.
No.
Well, but that's what Catholics believe.
No, they don't believe he's infallible.
Mom, it's
I don't
in
think they ever believed
it's
any
like
of
in
the
the
popes was
bylaws.
infallible.
Yeah, it's like in the bylaws. This is
Nobody's infallible.
they say the Pope is infallible.
No, nobody's infallible.
Mom, how? But like, this is what I mean. I just stopped believing that stuff that you already don't believe.
Well, I believe stuff that's not ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Oh my God, you're gonna make me look it up.
No.
Why? You looked something up. Why can't I?
I just looked meta. I just went on meta, that's all.
Is the Pope infallible? The Roman Catholic Church teaches that the Pope is infallible, only under specific rare conditions, not in everything he says or does. So that's fair. This dogma, defined in 1870, holds that the Pope is preserved from error by the Holy Spirit only when speaking ex cathedra.
From where? From when?
From the Holy Spirit.
Oh.
Just because it says Holy Spirit on the Google doesn't mean that the Holy Spirit exists.
It does to most people. It does to me.
And you know what? I think the Holy Spirit puts you into talking about this stuff. I think it's my purpose, for sure.
I think the Holy Spirit, like he brings people like together. Like it's just weird. I
think that's the universe.
Oh, right.
Why does it have to be holy?
Why not? What's holy? What's it? The word isn't going to change anything.
Holy describes something sacred, divine, or set apart for religious purposes. What is the word religion? Because I believe in like divine, but I believe it's the universe. I don't believe it's God. I don't believe it's Jesus. I think Jesus was a good guy. Okay, religious refers to a devotion to a deity, ultimate reality, or adherence to specific beliefs and practices. East Asian religions focus on philosophical or ethical systems. I just don't believe in Christianity. I don't believe in Abrahamic religions. There we go. Yeah. And if there are so many different kinds of religions, why is one right and the other one's wrong? And who decides that? I don't get, like, religions are the reason we have war.
Obviously.
What about that is a good thing?
No.
When I read the Bible, the first thing that made me go, what? Was like all of the Crusades in Genesis. Just talking about all the people they slaughtered in the name of God. What? Why is that a good thing? Where's their Bible? Who are those people? All I'm saying is that's how it started.
I mean, I in this time I did learn a lot about where you're coming from.
Good. Thank you. That's the goal. And like the way that it kind of started today was like,
you get defensive when I
Mom,
talk.
you get defensive.
No, you shut me up like that. Don't do this or don't do that.
I don't do that.
Whatever it was. I think it was he didn't have shoes on.
Oh, no. It was that he had pajamas on. And you were like, you can't wear them outside of the house.
I didn't say you can't wear them.
Yes, you did.
You have them on. You shouldn't be wearing them because you have.
Okay, so shouldn't.
He'll be in them for all weekend.
I know, but like, what does shouldn't mean?
Not.
Why?
Yeah. Why are you gonna hit me on with that? But is it big a deal that you'd have to say that?
Yes, because I don't want them to believe in that they shouldn't do something that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It does.
Why?
Because what do they go out in their look at least he put clothes on before he entered the door.
They know the rules. Why does it matter if they walk out in shirts that are made to be slept in? Which the only difference is that they're softer. Why does it matter?
That's not really softer, that one there.
Okay, but like, why does it matter?
Because there's clothes for night and there's clothes for day. And Oliver doesn't, like, he'll just wear 24 hours.
So it makes him comfortable.
I know, but they have to be cleaned.
They do get cleaned. When
they're not at my house, he doesn't take them off. He won't even put pajamas on.
What about the clothes they're wearing has anything to do with what kind of a human they are?
It doesn't.
So that's what I focus on.
But I don't want to just talk to them when it's not necessary. You were raised not to wear your stuff out in playing. You don't go out in your pajamas. It's just, and I wanted you to know they were pajamas. They weren't a play suit.
You told me 3 times.
And I did want you to know, didn't I?
You sure did. But I just like, let him play. You're stopping him from having joy because some weird thought that you were raised with, you know what I mean? Like, it's that. That's what I'm trying to not do to them.
I have to order this.
Are you even paying attention?
Yeah, I am. So if you don't believe in God, then why would you go to a psychic?
Psychics aren't God.
No, but they're very spiritual.
I'm not spiritual. I don't believe in God.
That's another conversation then.
Listen, things have to be connected. The way that I see the same, like whatever, we'll talk about manifestation or woo-woo or witchiness. I think what I am learning about witchiness is that it is just living life with intention. That's all it is. And for me, being connected to the things that are on this earth that nourish me, like, and understanding better, like, maybe why we're here as human beings, as souls, as creatures. Well, we've ADHD'd enough, but I think that we also have some other things that we can probably dig into. All right, say goodbye to your followers.
Goodbye, followers. Follow me soon. Maybe by then I'll be a poly.
Bye.